All right, welcome back to Eye of the Storm. I was going to say this is another episode of What's Wrong with Women, but the more I think about it, the more I realize that I've been doing this show. I've filmed over 50 episodes once a week. That's a whole year, and I talk about a lot of things that have to do with women. A lot of times, some of them will be involving cases or just general female behavior. But what I've come to realize is that the series may be coming to an end because I realized that all these behaviors, all these things I notice about women, there's nothing wrong with women. So this series might actually be at its end because I've realized there's nothing wrong with women. It's just who they are. Why am I talking about this? This story is what has broken that cycle. The idea that there's something wrong with women and that's what makes them behave the way they do. It turns out there's nothing actually wrong with women. This is just who they are. And once you realize that, once you come to terms with that, the red pill and every other pill, all the issues, all the crying, all the complaining, it just goes away. You no longer feel any rage, you no longer feel any anger. You've come to understand that this is what women are. This is who women are. And I have to give credit to Coach Greg Adams because watching his content kind of helped me realize that they are not your enemy. Women are not your enemy. Women are they're just creatures trying to survive. So your problem with women is with their nature, with the way they try to survive. You have a set of rules by which you get the things you want. They have their own rules. They have their own ways and manners of getting these things. That's why we see the same things all the time. We complain and cry about it, but nothing changes because that is what they are. That is their nature. And for many years, for generations, we've had systems in place that kind of suppress this nature of women. But something has come along that has, opened Pandora's box. And as you know, it can't be closed. So it's just best to confront, with all honesty, exactly what women are. And I say this because MrBeast, of all people, this guy who, as you know, he heals this. He heals blind people. You know what I mean? MrBeast, blind people. He feeds African children. He digs wells for people. Raises $40 million. He does all these things, and he's still somebody who is capable of facing these types of accusations. So I've decided that I'm going to pivot. And I don't want to be an ambulance chasing lawyer because I will definitely start a series that talks about legal issues because I think that law is becoming more and more important, even though its influence and its prestige has been on the decline, I have to say. But the fact that MrBeast, look at him, he's doing videos with Neymar and Cristiano Ronaldo, and he's healing the sick, curing the blind, and a woman still comes out to accuse him of sexism, leave violation, sexual harassment. I understand that the allegations are not levied against MrBeast himself, but it's his name that is going to be all over the news. It's his reputation that is going to be in ruins because apparently he will be blamed for creating the environment that allows these sorts of things to happen. And the movie industry, kind of spawned the Me Too movement, and we must understand that the Me Too movement did not blow over. It did not die out. It just reset the relationship between men and women. It created a new precedent by which the relationships between men and women can be judged. Basically, the Me Too movement is a transfer of power, such that once a woman makes an allegation, whether you're convicted in the court of law or in the court of public opinion, whatever result she desires, it will be the correct one. And there are several examples of this. Coach does a story about a coach. There was a basketball coach at Michigan State. I'm not sure. And the guy, he fights the case, but he still loses because the woman goes on ABC News in the morning and brings out the tears and destroys him. Yes, this one. College basketball coach sued for grooming 23-year-old players. Grooming. You are 23 and you're being groomed. Anyway, that's a separate video. But the point is, the MrBeast allegations shows that no matter how wholesome you are, no matter how ESG compliant you are still exposed to these things because you choose to work with women. Now, it's clear that there's a catch-22. If you don't hire women, you're sexist, you're not ESG, you are discriminatory. If you do hire women, you are exposed to reputational liability, even monetary and otherwise. Activision went through hell. Activision was almost brought to its knees because a bunch of women came out and said that the guys farted on them during lunch breaks or whatever. And we'll go through the story, then we'll try to listen to what these people have to say. It's a 4-minute clip. But let's go through what is being read, because obviously when they cover stories like this, they'll get women to talk about it, which we don't like to hear. We don't like to listen to them. Maybe that should change, but let me go through these allegations before I make my verdict. And obviously, clearly you can't make a verdict until you hear the other side, but what I want to look at is strategy. We did it with the Diddy case. We looked at what Diddy's defense could be, and our strategy worked, even though he got caught on, he ended up being convicted, but Diddy's conviction was not real. His conviction was paying for people to have sex with him across state lines. That's a crime. Okay. It's a very archaic understanding of sexual relationships in the 21st century. So I would say our strategy for Diddy worked. It did. So let's go through it. That's enough for an introduction. Let's go. A woman who used to work for MrBeast is suing his company over allegations that she experienced sexual harassment. I've talked about sexual harassment, and it's always important to show you that sexual harassment has no meaning, because its range of meanings is so broad. So not that it has no meaning, it has no definition. Emiru's emotional truth, she says. An emotional truth. It wasn't facts. It wasn't based on facts. Her allegations against Ms. Kif were not based on facts, but based on her own emotional truth. What the hell does that mean? To Earth, where we all live. Where we live, work, and play with friends. Females, some of them. Co-workers, some of them. And they have come to define what sexual harassment is. And it is through this lens, whether you like it or not, no matter your jurisdiction, it is through this lens that any court, any jury will look at sexual harassment, whether they've read this document or not. The Me Too movement was basically a brainwashing campaign to get people to adopt subconsciously these definitions of sexual harassment and the current definitions of rape and consent, the Fry's method. All these things were compacted into the Me Too movement and gave everyone the understanding or the subconscious knowledge that this is how we're going to relate with one another going forward. So as I said, this video is supposed to be legalistic, but it's not. It's really not. This is not a legal case per se. Yes, she's going to court, but it's more of a social commentary on the relationships between men and women. So let's look at this. So EEOC, I don't know what that is. It's not defined here, but it looks like what? Equal employment. Let's see what EEOC means. So this is the United States Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. So the United Nations is adopting the American version of what harassment is. These are the people. Look, these are the people that are in charge. See that? See that? All right, let's go. Let's just get through this quickly. I don't want this to be a very long video. All right. So defines sexual harassment in its guidelines as unwelcome sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, and other verbal or physical conduct of a sexual nature when submission to such conduct is made either explicitly or implicitly a term or condition of an individual's employment. Okay. So meaning that a girl comes into your office, you tell her, you touch her leg, or you make these sexual advances against her, and she perceives that to be a condition of her employment, either to get a job or to keep her job or to avoid losing her job. All right, that makes sense. Okay. So submission to or rejection of such conduct by an individual is used as a basis for employment decisions affecting such an individual. So that's what I just described. Okay. When such conduct has the purpose or effect of reasonably interfering with an individual's work performance or create an intimidating, hostile or offensive working environment. Offensive. That's an interesting and subjective word. Offensive. So that means if you are offended by the behavior, even if the behavior does not involve you, it counts as sexual harassment. You need to understand this. So just take this as a little bit of a guidance on your workplace environment, because as I said, if someone like MrBeast, as wholesome as MrBeast is, if someone like MrBeast can be subject to these allegations, you are not safe, because he spent the last 10 years, creating this brand, building this brand to make sure that he has a maximum appeal, made all the concessions around the world to international standards, and even he is not immune to these sorts of allegations. So you need to understand where this is coming from, and that is what we're doing here. We're trying to teach you to understand that even where the behavior is not directed towards the so-called victim, the victim can witness such behavior and choose to be offended and say that the environment, hostile work environment, sexual harassment, even if she's not the subject of the so-called harassment. And we'll go through that. So unwelcome behavior is a critical word. Unwelcome does not mean involuntary. A victim may consent or agree to certain conduct and even actively participate in it, even though it is offensive and objectionable. Do you see? So even if this girl participated in the activities with full heart and joy and enjoyment, she can still turn around a few years later and say, I was sexually harassed. That is what this means. Look, therefore, and this is why I mentioned the Me Too movement. Therefore, sexual conduct is unwelcome whenever the person subjected to it considers it unwelcome. Whenever. So as we saw, she consented, she willingly participated, but then whenever she wakes up in the morning and says, I did not consent to it, then it stops being consensual. So that is how it works. We'll go through all these. We'll look at her own accusations and we'll look for them in this document. You can see it's a whole list. Let me tell you exactly how many different things it is. You can see how long it is. There's 3 pages, 4 pages of things. So we're looking at somewhere around, let's count it all. And it's going to be around 60 things, 62 different things. I would say, let's say somewhere around 60 things. 50 something things, right? Sexual harassment is 50 something things. And you must memorize all of them. And we'll come back to this. So let's go. So she alleges that she experienced sexual harassment during her employment and was wrongfully terminated following her return from parental leave. And it's supposed to be called maternal leave, but they call it parental leave now in order to avoid gendered language. So this is actually maternal leave. We speak English on this channel, guys. And surprisingly, April 22nd, these allegations are not new. But I'm just learning about them right now. So, all right. Let's see. So Lorraine Mavromat has filed a federal lawsuit. Oof. Federal, because it's going to be under this commission, right? It's going to be under these guidelines. So she has to go federal. So most likely, MrBeast, which should be registered in North Carolina or Delaware, may not have some of the things that she's looking for. So the Eastern District of North Carolina, as I said, it's a federal suit. It's not state. On Wednesday, against MrBeast, YouTube LLC and Game Changer 247 LLC, which are both owned by the content creator, whose real name, yeah. We're not going to give out his real name. If you don't know it, you don't know it, right? So she's seeking unspecified monetary damages to be determined by a jury. Wow. All right. So she's asking for a jury trial. That's going to cost money. It's going to cost time. MrBeast will definitely look to settle this if he wants it to go away as quickly as possible. All right. But let's see what her claim is before we talk about settling. In the suit, she's described as a rising star who was promoted twice between 2022 and 2024. So oh my God. So MrBeast hires a woman, right? She happens to be competent. And because of ESG, because of the brainwashing and the conditioning, you promote her as quickly as possible. Or, she's an officer, then she becomes a supervisor, then a manager. And she's using that against you. This is somebody who is promoted quickly, probably faster than her peers. And the reason why she's promoted this quickly is because she's a woman. Because MrBeast understands what the game is. He understands what the branding is. Oh, we have women in our ranks. We have women at high positions. This is a transfer of power. All right. So she was promoted twice between 2022 and 2024 before a sexual harassment complaint and pregnancy resulted in alleged retaliation in the form of a demotion and eventual termination in November. That would have been November 2025. All right. When asked by NBC News why she decided to take legal action, she said, "I think that most importantly, I became a mother." So you can see that this is performative. She's not talking about the injustice that she faced. She's talking about her status. She's talking about herself. She's speaking in such self-important, sanctimonious terms. She's not talking about an actual wrong that was done to her that she feels violated by. She's talking about how I'm a mother. So she says, "I have a daughter now and I don't want to be silenced anymore." She said in an interview after the suit was filed. So she files an interview and calls a press conference, calls NBC News. This is the game. This is a shakedown. This is a shakedown that pulls at the string of MrBeast's character and reputation. Yes, it's his company being sued, but the man himself is tied to these companies. His reputation is in those companies. And it's him they're going after by going after the companies. We're in 2026 and things like this are still happening. Things like what? Let's hear it. A company spokesperson told NBC News on Wednesday that the suit was based on deliberate misrepresentations and categorically false statements. I would like to see it. There's extensive evidence, including Slack and WhatsApp messages, company documents, and witness testimony that unequivocally refutes her claims. We will not submit to opportunistic lawyers trying to manufacture a payday from us. I have a question for American lawyers listening. When suits like this are brought and they're found to be frivolous, and we all know that everybody expects the big corporation to settle because a lawsuit is not really a quest for justice, it's not really a quest to right a wrong, it's really now more of an extortion tactic. And everybody knows that it's an extortion tactic because the natural course of justice is not only time consuming but extremely expensive. So is law a means to justice or a means to a settlement? Is it a means to just extract money from somebody? Because it shouldn't be. Because each court of law, that as we call it, at the top of the sign you see it's a court of justice. But the law slows it down and justice is far beyond your reach. MrBeast, I don't think MrBeast deserves this type of attention for what he does. I don't think he's justified. I don't think it's justified for you to put his name and sexual harassment in the same sentence. I don't know the guy, but looking at what he is, looking at what he has done, it's not congruent. It's not congruent. So let's continue. So, she was not fired, but her role was eliminated alongside others amid a company-wide restructuring. So, companies restructure all the time. People get let go. COVID, how many people got fired during COVID? So, MrBeast is just 27, maybe 28 years old. That is crazy. He didn't rise to fame as the biggest YouTuber in the world. He became the biggest YouTuber in the world. What's going on? Anyway, he has 479 million subscribers. What controversy? I don't think any of it is controversial. Who cares? Other than, what's his biggest controversy? Probably Team Water, which is not a YouTube controversy, and Tyson, right? That's pretty much it. Anyways, in 2024, a third-party legal probe into MrBeast LLC found that the allegations of sexual misconduct were baseless. This is what I'm talking about. And the thing is, as a lawyer, you're tempted to wait for all the facts. You are encouraged to, listen to all sides before you make a ruling, which is true. But as a lawyer with the principle of stare decisis, right? You understand patterns, you see cases. Cases usually fall in a specific pattern. So if you have a set of facts and the court reaches a decision in a specific set of facts, you apply those facts, or you apply the law in similar facts, right? So you stand by things decided. So look at this. The doctrine obligates courts to adhere to prior judicial decisions when resolving cases with similar facts or legal issues, promoting fairness and reliability in legal outcomes. Because we know, we've seen these things. As soon as a woman is let go, you must brace for a sexual harassment. As soon as a black person is let go, you must brace for a racial discrimination. That is just what we have. That is just what is happening. And we know it. Look at this. Sexual misconduct allegations directed at former MrBeast collaborator are baseless. So this was during the Chris Tyson situation. Okay. I guess it's not truly related, but let's continue. So that same year, MrBeast was sued by some contestants on Beast Games who accused for the company of unsafe working conditions. Okay. I want to hear the details. Let's hear this. She was hired in 2022. I'm sorry. She was hired in 2022 as the head of the Instagram division, but she was promoted multiple times until she became the chief operations officer for the verticals division, which included managing a team of 20 people. Okay. As I said, you get women in your company and you do your best to promote them out of the core operation of your company, right? You're managing a team of 20 people. What that means is that 20 people are doing the work. She's just there to look good and to present the company as a company that hires women. Why do I say this? Well, the suit describes the company's work environment as a boys' club. This is YouTube. YouTube is a game for men. It's a men's thing. Every woman who is successful on YouTube doesn't hire women. Only a rich guy like MrBeast would hire women and promote them out of operation. Promote them out of actual work. Just give them the cushy seat and keep them out of the actual operation of the business. I don't need to look at MrBeast documents to know this, because we advise companies all the time. This is what people have to do to comply with equal opportunity, what they call it, equal opportunity, and quotas for the federal government. We do it with women, we do it with the blacks, we do it with the gays. Well, of recent, you have to do with the T's as well. That's just what happens. It's a shakedown. All right, so it says describes the work environment of the company as a boys' club, which included a policy that it was okay for the boys to be childish. We would like to see this policy document. But as I said, it's YouTube. YouTube is a guy's thing. The first video ever uploaded on YouTube was a guy. YouTube is masculine in nature. So bringing a woman into that environment will naturally create fiction. It's like Tumblr. Imagine someone running a Tumblr account. Tumblr is for women. It's a feminine environment. So let's see. Female employees were allegedly... Let's take that again. Female employees were allegedly excluded from all male meetings. Let's stop there. As I said, I've not read this article, but I already know. All male meetings, you know what that means? The people who actually work. That is what an all male meeting is at a company. When you have a meeting and it's only men in that meeting, it just means that it's the people who are actually doing the work. MrBeast does a lot of videos that have a lot of sets, a lot of running around to do, building sets, all these elaborate things that he has to do to entertain us, right? So naturally, it's going to take actual physical work, actual physical labor. So essentially, any meeting regarding setting up a video will usually be all male. What is a woman going to do other than go on Instagram during the meeting? There's just nothing. Anyways, so the women were also allegedly... Now, as you can see, she was initially speaking for herself. The suit is for herself, but now she's talking about what she's witnessing at a third party. So she can conjunct. What's the word? She can is conject a word? Let's see. I need conjecture. Okay. Pardon me. So she can conjecture a scenario where she sees that some women who shall not be named are being the subjects of sexual harassment. That is what this is. Because we thought the case was about her, but she's talking about some nameless, faceless female employees. Okay, so they're subjected to demeaning behavior in front of colleagues and unwelcome comments about their appearance. You don't know what is unwelcome until when the person goes to court and says that the comment was unwelcome. Right? That was, what's his name? Governor Cuomo. Mario? No, not Mario Cuomo. What's his name? Cuomo governor. Fredo's brother, right? Andrew Cuomo, yeah. That was his problem. He gave some woman a Valentine's Day gift, and 3 years later, she reports that as sexual harassment. A Valentine's Day gift in the office. Anyway, so she asked her supervisor to intervene with a wealthy client who made romantic overtures to her to the point where male colleagues falsely claimed that she was sexually involved with the client. Wealthy client. What does wealthy client mean to MrBeast's business? This is the first part that I am going to actually try to take a moderate position, probably take her side a little bit, because we've never truly seen or understood MrBeast's business. What is a wealthy client? I thought that MrBeast just makes YouTube videos. What then is the client? Because we see MrBeast with the Saudis, and we're all YouTubers, right? We just, like, yeah, okay, MrBeast says he has to make the best videos possible, the most optimized. You can see he has not had a video of less than 100 million views, right? In years. He hasn't. He has not had a video of less than 100 million views. We're looking at 200 million minimum, right? So what does a client mean? What does a wealthy client mean? This is not false. I don't mean the sexual romantic overtures. I mean the existence of a wealthy client. We must ask that question. That's what's more important to me as a YouTuber than her alleged sexual. Women allege sexual misconduct all the time. And your problem is not with the company. Your problem is with the wealthy client who is making sexual overtures against you. Why are you blaming the company? Why do you not join the wealthy clients to the suit? Why? Alright, so her supervisor was a CEO named James Warren, MrBeast's cousin. Okay, funny. According to the suit. So you see that is like an allegation of nepotism. That's an allegation of nepotism which she is factoring into her sexual harassment claim. So I gave you a list of 52 things that constitute sexual harassment. Well, nepotism is now one of them. So let's continue. So the CEO says that she should be honored that a billionaire was hitting on her. A billionaire. So MrBeast once said that he was in a meeting, like an exclusive party. He can't say where and he cannot say who, but it was billionaires in that party. He said that on the Flagrant podcast. I'll mark it here. And he said he cannot name the people. He cannot tell you what they discussed. He just knows that he was in a room filled with billionaires. So this gives credence to what she's saying. And I'm talking about the existence of these alleged billionaires, because MrBeast's success, right? It's not just, oh, I make YouTube videos and they're all awesome. He has billionaires backing him, a wealthy client. I thought we just made YouTube videos. I thought that's what we did. But he has wealthy clients. So we need to, that is the mystery here. As I said, a sexual harassment allegation is a dime a dozen. We've faced them for the past 10 years. This is not new. But what is new is that MrBeast has people that are described as wealthy clients and billionaires who have access to their staff. Because everything here from this point is corroborated. And I don't mean everything, I just mean the wealthy client and the billionaire. And this is clearly not a person who calls MrBeast and says, make a video for my son for $250,000. He tells that story. That's not what he's talking about. He's likely talking about investors, backers, right? And this allegation here sounds like a Saudi. It sounds like somebody from Saudi Arabia. I remember Steve will do it dissing MrBeast about being in bed with the Saudis. So for me, for the YouTubers out there, this is the more important thing than what this woman is saying. That's why I don't like YouTubers like Carvers. Carvers will, oh, a woman said something bad about somebody, therefore the person is a bad person. No. Like, as a man, you need to understand that women just exist to destroy you. Her allegations are pointless. They have no meaning. This is the real thing we need to know. We need discovery on this. And clearly, this case is definitely going to be settled because people like this, the wealthy client, and the billionaire, their identities have to be protected. So MrBeast is going to settle this case. This case is not going to trial because discovery is going to reveal who these people are. Because likely she would have made an internal complaint regarding this person and that document is going to come out. So yeah, he's done. Like, he's going to have to pay her. I'm not sure how much, but he's going to have to pay her if these people exist, which I think they do. All right, so let's move as quickly as possible. So she felt it was clear that the sexually inappropriate comments were acceptable to the company, and the complaint could adversely affect her employment. This is a feeling. This is not an overt communication. This is not an outright statement. She just felt it in her heart, and that amounts to sexual harassment. So she asked why MrBeast could not meet with her regarding her specific project, and the CEO informed her that he gets really awkward around beautiful women. That is sexual harassment. Not wanting to meet with a woman for a meeting is sexual harassment. Do you remember the Mike Pence rule? Mike Pence rule. Do you guys remember? Which is the Billy Graham rule. Do you remember the reaction to the Mike Pence rule? Look at that. Do you remember the reaction? What women said? Women came out and said that the rule is bad. It's bad for women. Right? So it says it's a code of conduct among male evangelical Protestant leaders. MrBeast is a Christian, no matter how much he likes to deny it. Whatever. And then it says it's adopted as a display of integrity, which means avoiding sexual temptation to avoid any appearance of doing something considered morally objectionable, as well as for avoiding accusations of sexual harassment or assault. Right? Which includes avoiding spending time alone with women to whom they are not married. Right? So MrBeast is using the Mike Pence rule. This idiot here goes and says something stupid. The women you work with are not beautiful. Do not compliment women. Why? Why don't you compliment women? Because it is sexual harassment. Let me show you. Right here. Making sexual comments about a person's clothing, anatomy, or looks. Beautiful is sexual. Beautiful is harassment. Sexual comments. Right? Let's see. Let's see what else we have. Right. So, talking to a woman, complimenting a woman is yeah, look, making sexual comments about a person's clothing, anatomy, or looks. Calling a woman beautiful is sexual harassment. Don't even get it twisted. Do not compliment women at the workplace. That is sexual harassment. Never do it. Never. Maybe at the end of this video, I'll give you a rule looking at this video. Alright, so let's just say when you're around, he goes to the restroom and he's not actually using the restroom. Wow. This is a very terrible thing to say. This is a terrible thing to say. You are putting your boss, the chairman of a company, in danger. You're not used to women. And this is what I keep saying. You guys think that women are normal. You guys think women are just like us. They're not. They're different from us. As a guy, I understand what he's saying. I get it. I'm not going to be offended by what he's saying. But she's a woman. She'll turn around and sue you for this shit, and that's what she's doing. Okay, so the company spokesperson, Jesus Christ, the company spokesman singled out this allegation as ridiculous and accused her of exploiting MrBeast's bowel disease in the suit. Alright, whatever. So, human resources were run by his mother, and there was no process in the company to make a complaint involving sensitive matters to a third party or to make an anonymous report. Okay, so I guess at this time, MrBeast had not yet fully implemented the ESG guidelines or whatever. But his mother is the head of HR, so I don't get it. Alright, let's see. The woman had to submit her complaint directly to the head of HR. You can see it right here. Do you see this? So she's alleging again that nepotism, family-run business, is part of sexual harassment. So she says that she was told that her complaint would be thoroughly investigated and was later informed her claims were unsubstantiated, and she was demoted to a social media manager for merchandise in January 2024. Where was she? She was the head of operations. Now she runs social media. As I said, women are hired in these places to get out of the way of the people who actually work. Head of social media, that's your job anyway. That's what you do on the phone all the time, social media. Right, so she went from her vertical position, developing and directing creative initiatives for MrBeast. No, MrBeast comes up with the ideas. Responsible for a budget of approximately $500,000 a month. Oh god, with a private office at headquarters. All right, so an isolated middle manager position in the struggling and unpopular merchandise division with no direct reports and a minimal budget. This is crazy. This tells you that she's really going for blood, and her case is very strong because this happened. This happened, and the reason why this happened is because the CEO, MrBeast's cousin, does not know how to talk to women. He doesn't know that when you invite a woman into your company, you've invited a fox into a hen house, and you are the hen. The company is the hen house, because she's going to kill everybody before she leaves or after. Right, so she informed the company that she was pregnant and she would need to take leave. This was not a standard company practice, providing employees information about their rights under the Family and Medical Leave Act at the time. And she was not given a notice of her rights and responsibilities. This is horrible. This is ridiculous. And then they put this woman's face here for no fucking reason. And this is the character assassination I'm talking about. This woman has nothing to do with the case, but no problem. Right, a copy of the handbook dated March 2025 includes details on Family, Medical and Leave Act, right? Is that what it's called? Yeah, Family and Medical Leave Act, whatever. And maternal leave, okay. The last page, shared with the ABC News, included a signature from the woman accepting her receipt of the book, acknowledging her receipt of the book. So she gave birth on March 31st, 2025, which is described in the suit as a difficult experience. Why are you talking about that? So what she's putting in the mind of the court and in the mind of the jury is that all these things she's experiencing in MrBeast's office is affecting her ability to give birth. That is what she's doing by calling it a difficult experience. Man, I understand why people don't like lawyers. I really do. I see it now. It's American lawyers, because I don't think any British trained lawyer would do something like this. We don't talk like this. Why are you talking about the difficulty of giving birth? It's in the Bible. God said it's going to be difficult. Like, why are you? What does MrBeast have to do with your pregnancy being difficult? God said it to be difficult. Why are you here? Look. Why are you blaming MrBeast? Like, MrBeast is not God. God was the one who said that your childbirth will be painful. Why is that my problem? What the? Oh my god. Anyway, so it required her baby to stay in the neonatal intensive care unit. So it means maybe the child was born prematurely. Who knows? Anyway, despite this, she asked to work on an upcoming product launch that had her working continuously during the month of April. You asked to work. I thought you were on leave to give birth. Why are you asking to work? She was building the fucking case, bro. Let me tell you the case she's building by asking to work. And I covered this in an earlier video. And obviously, I also give credit to Coach. Before a woman comes to kill you, which is what this woman is doing to MrBeast, she's trying to kill him. By kill him, I mean assassinate him, lynch him. She is building a case against you from the very beginning. Why would you give birth to your child in March and in April you're asking to work on the project? Why would you do that? Let me tell you the answer very quickly. The reason you do that is so that if they say no, you can say, I wanted to work, they did not allow me to work, and they prevented me from making money. That's one. Two, if they do agree, she can say, they made me work through my pregnancy. So it's a catch-22. It was this case. This is a very big, this is one of my best performing videos. See, I shouted out Coach Greg, so don't at me, don't come for me, don't cipher me. But in this video, she's talking about her divorce, and she said that she mourned her marriage for years before filing for divorce. What does that mean? That means that she has already divorced him in her heart. She already divorced this guy in her heart. Then the filing comes after that. Meaning that whatever sadness she has felt, or whatever sadness she needs to feel, she has already felt it, processed it. Then what she's doing now is the plan. She's setting up the traps. Right? She's plotting against you. She's, as Coach would say, thoughting and plotting. She has already done the grieving. So you think the divorce, when you're blindsided, of course, as the last person to find out, when you're blindsided by the divorce papers, you are just starting to get devastated. She has already been internally devastated. She has grieved. She has gone through the stages of depression or stages of grief or whatever. The acceptance, grieving, acknowledgement, anger, all those things. She has gone through those things. And now she has a clear heart, clear mind, set solely for your destruction. Right? That's what she did. Then she files. And when she's filing, she's giving you evidence. Her case is already built. Women aren't stupid, and that's the number one misconception that we've had about women for thousands of years. We think women are stupid. They are not. They are not. Women are not stupid. They're crafty. They may not be intelligent, but they are not stupid. I can tell you that. They are crafty. They are very deceptive. They are very manipulative. And that is exactly what she's doing here. You give birth on March 31st. And you ask to work on the product. Why? Your child is in intensive care. And you're asking to work throughout April. What is that other than evil? No man would even allow this. Like, no man would do such a thing. So it's a catch-22. She's setting a trap for you. So if you reject her, you prevented her from working. If you allow her to work, you are working her like a slave. That's the trap. Anyways, in May 2025, she was contacted by a producer to work on a video involving Neymar. Okay, now she's bringing big names, fine. The suit said that she worked on the project, including travel to Brazil for the video shoot. Come on, bro. You just had a baby in intensive care and you're traveling to Brazil. So, man. Oh my God. This is terrible. So she alleges again that she was not informed of her rights and she worked during an 8-week period following the birth of her child. You asked to work. You didn't ask for leave. You asked to work instead. And now you're blaming them for allowing you to work. Now she's saying that she feared retaliation if she refused to work during her leave. What the fuck is a leave then? This is like a horror film. I'm sweating right now as I'm making this video. This is a horror movie. Is this what it means to hire a woman? This is what it means when you say you want to hire women, ESG, promote gender equality. This is what it means. We're not even halfway done through this article. I'm scared. She wrote that it felt it would be extremely valuable to have a Brazilian citizen on ground to help the team. She's Brazilian. So this third world bitch, this bitch from the third world is trying to rinse my nigga MrBeast of his money. Look, how will the logistics work though? Will there be a seat available on the jet? She wants to travel on the private jet. In her interview, she stood by the suit and she said she was never told about the act and does not recall signing any documents. Okay. When pressed about the exchange about going to Brazil, she acknowledged that sending message. She acknowledged sending that message, but she felt she had to be there for fear of losing her job. I didn't have a choice. Well, you have a child. And she was terminated in November, 3 weeks after returning from her pregnancy-related leave. But she wanted to jump on the jet to meet Neymar. What is happening here, guys? What are we doing? She was told she was too high caliber for the social media role and was not offered another position with the company. I had so much respect for MrBeast and I never wanted to see or second guess that I was there for the wrong reasons. Okay? I stepped down and stepped away from my platforms because I never wanted to use his name for my own benefit. Okay, whatever. Okay. Okay, so that's the end. Man. Guys. This video has gone on long enough, but I'm scared. I'm scared for, and I talked about this, I'm scared for us, men. Remember, we are the people, we grew up with certain promises that companies made for us, or I'll say the Matrix, the TV gave us these promises. And I remember when this promise was broken. Do you remember when? I did a video about it. This video right here. Where is it? Here. Joy Taylor at Fox Sports. This was the broken promise of Joy Taylor, right? Because the promise is that as a man, you work hard, you build a company, you hire hot women, and of course, with consent, you do what you want with them, right? But what do we have instead? Sexual harassment. Nobody harassed this woman. The closest thing to harassment that we've seen is from a billionaire, probably a Saudi guy, who is an investor in MrBeast, asking for her number. That is it. That is the closest thing to sexual harassment, and it's not even to do with anybody in the company. You give birth to a child, but you hear through the grapevine that they're shooting with Neymar. Where's the Neymar video? You hear through the grapevine that they're shooting with Neymar, and you want to shoot with Neymar. You want to jump on the jet and go to Brazil and abandon your child in intensive care, just so you can go and shoot with Neymar. That is what people are calling sexual harassment in 2026. We are in trouble, guys. We are behind enemy lines. You've invited the fox into the hen house. Look. Okay, so where's she here? Where's she here? Like, she abandoned her child in an intensive care unit to jump on the jet to shoot with Neymar. Where is she in the video? What does she want to do in this video? What is she trying to do here?
Finale with Neymar. And now the moment you've all been waiting for.
So, to stand in the stands? You stand in the stands?
One of the greatest football players on the planet, Neymar.
Okay, so where's she?
An international football superstar with 28 championship wins, 1 Olympic gold medal, and above all, the crown as Brazil's all-time leading goal scorer. It's going to be going up against our boy Igor over here.
So she's not even playing. She's not even playing against Neymar. What's she doing? She's fetching the coffee? What are you doing filming with Neymar with your child in intensive care? Neonatal. What is neonatal intensive care? Let's just check what this is, because I think it's about being premature. Let's find out. Life support for premature or critically ill newborns. Thank you. I knew it, but thank you. And you want to shoot with Neymar. You want to shoot with... This is what she's doing. This is what she's trying to do. To shoot with Neymar. Here. And she's nowhere in the video. Where is she? She here? No. It's the boys kicking footballs around.
Supplier payments don't have to be hard.
Anyway, so out of everything that she mentioned, the only thing that she got was sexual comments from the CEO talking about how beautiful she is. Right? So this is 1 out of 50 things. So yes, that counts as sexual harassment. Calling a woman beautiful is sexual harassment. Just take that as it is. We'll go through the list very quickly. Attempted or actual rape or sexual assault. That's sexual harassment. Look, it includes many things. It's not defined. There's no definition for sexual harassment. It just includes different things. Unwelcome behavior. Whatever a woman feels is sexual harassment is sexual harassment. So it's not defined. Unwanted pressure for sexual favors. Meaning that if she wants the pressure for sexual favors, it's not sexual harassment. How do you know that? You have to read a mind. All right. Unwanted deliberate touching, leaning over, cornering, or pinching. Unwanted sexual looks or gestures. Remember flirting, harassment, the memes, right? Remember that? Flirting and harassment. Yeah, flirting versus harassment meme. That's what that is. All right? Right fucking there. The whole world recognizes this. We make memes out of this. We make memes out of it. Look. Know the work rules. Everyone knows this. We make cartoons out of this. What this woman is talking about. All right, let's continue. We'll go through it very quickly. Unwanted letters, telephone calls, or materials of a sexual nature. Unwanted pressure for dates. Oh, I want to buy you food for free. That's sexual harassment. All right. Unwanted sexual teasing, jokes, remarks, or questions. Referring to an adult as a girl, hunk, doll, babe, or honey. All right. Whistling at someone. Cat calls. Sexual comments. Turning work discussions into sexual topics. Sexual innuendos or stories. Asking about sexual fantasies, preferences, or history. Personal questions about social or sex life. Oh, are you single? That's sexual harassment. Makes sense, but that's what it is. All right. Sexual comments about a person's clothing, anatomy, or looks. As I said, all compliments are sexual. Kissing sounds, howling, smacking lips, telling lies, or spreading rumors about a person's personal sex life. I thought all sex life was personal. All right, whatever. Neck massage, touching an employee's clothing, hair, or body. Giving personal gifts. Okay. Does this include handshakes? I think it does. Hanging around a person, hugging, kissing, patting, or stroking. Touching or rubbing oneself sexually around another person. That's funny. All right. Standing close or brushing up against a person. Looking at a person up and down. They call it elevator eyes. This is real. This is United Nations. This is not a joke. This is United Nations right here. All right. Staring at someone. Sexually suggestive signals. Facial expressions. Winking. Throwing kisses. Smacking or licking lips. Making sexual gestures with hands or through body movements. That's funny. So, verbal, right? Referring to an adult as a girl, hunk, doll, babe, or honey. Whistling, cat calls. Sexual comments about a person's body. Sexual comments or innuendos. Turning work. Have we not done all this? Right? So, elevator eyes, we got that. Blocking a person's path, following the person, giving personal gifts, displaying sexually suggestive visuals, making sexual gestures with hands or through body movements, making facial expressions such as winking, throwing kisses or licking lips, giving a massage on neck or shoulders, touching the person's body, hair, or clothing, hugging, kissing, patting, stroking. This is more than 60, 70 things. Right? So, all these things, unwanted sexual looks or gestures, unwanted communications, unwanted deliberate touching. If you shake a woman's hand, just touching, if you shake a woman's hand, unwanted or not, according to this definition, it's sexual harassment. So, my verdict, do they have a defense for this? I don't think they... It's difficult because what you're asking them to do is prove their innocence, right? And in order to prove her case, she would have to ask for discovery, and they will not want to participate in discovery, so they will have to settle because they would not want to destroy. They would not want to affect their trade secrets or their clients, and I think that's the most important issue here. The billionaire client who wanted to sleep with her. There is nothing more important to this story than that. That is the story here. How does a company successfully defend against a disgruntled employee who sues for sexual harassment? I just don't see it done. Especially as a company as big as MrBeast, who has wealthy clients who wish to remain unnamed. Because her actual case, her best case, is against the client, not against MrBeast. This case is more of a shakedown that I think if it goes to trial and they're able to defend against the discovery for the sake of protecting the privacy of third parties, you can defend against discovery to protect third parties or to protect trade secrets, to protect technical know-how, that will, make you lose your competitive edge in the market. Those are ways you can protect against discovery, where discovery is likely to infringe upon third-party rights or your company's ability to make money effectively. So they can do that to protect themselves. Then they will need to kind of subpoena camera footage. I think camera footage will help, audio and stuff. I think camera footage is a good way as well. If she alleges that sometime in 2014 this happened, well, they'll bring out the camera footage of 2014, and if there's no such thing, then there's no such thing. But that's the way I would do it if I was ready to fight. And I don't know the kind of lawyer she has. I don't imagine that the lawyer will be a very big or expensive lawyer that has the resources and the time to fight a corporation like MrBeast. Clearly, with the media, they're paying for the media coverage. They're inviting the media for the filing of the suits, and they're inviting the media for interviews. So really, it's more of a shakedown using the media to put pressure on MrBeast. I wish and I hope that MrBeast would actually fight this case, because, as I said, you can protect third parties in discovery. You can protect your company's trade secrets. Facebook has done it successfully before. Microsoft has done it as well, but the most popular one was Facebook, because Facebook was being sued for I think racial discrimination, and there was a request for discovery on how Facebook is able to hire competent minority workers, and Facebook successfully defended that aspect of discovery, saying that if they reveal the methods they use to hire competent diversity workers, they would lose their competitive edge in the market. And as you know, Silicon Valley is highly competitive, and they succeeded in that claim. So it can work. They can use that defense to avoid disclosing the identity of their wealthy clients, to avoid exposing the company on how it works and how it runs and how they're able to maintain such success. So honestly, I would love for MrBeast to fight this case, but I know he's not going to, because that's kind of person he is. He promotes all these women empowerment type things, so he will empower her by settling with her. He's not going to give her true equality by actually fighting this case, which is unfortunate. So I wish him all the best, but truly the story here, or the important thing here, is for us to realize that we are not safe with these people that we call women. We're not safe. That's too much air, but the point I'm making is we are behind enemy lines. If someone like MrBeast, as wholesome as he is, can be the subject of this type of litigation, he's under a lot of pressure. He is likely, I'll call it 70% likely to settle. I would go to trial. I would always fight things like this if it were up to me, if I had the money and likely the time. But coach said something very recently, and it echoed what somebody very important to me once said. With women, why fight? Why are you fighting with women? Look, this is the video right here. Check out this video from Coach. Women are a distraction in your life if you pay them any attention. And that's what this is. It's just a quest for attention. So truly, he could just pay her off, maybe give her like $1 million, $2 million, write a check, never speak on me again. If you do, I'll collect 10 from you, maybe your life even, who knows, you know what I mean? So I don't know, man. There's just something wrong. Oh, as I said, there's nothing wrong. It's just what women are, right? Women are a distraction. Women are a drain on your resources. Women are a drain on your time. You cannot afford to commit any of your scarce resources on women. You can't afford it. You can't afford it. So I'm starting a law firm, or I'm starting a company, and I have to hire women. You're going to sink. You're going to destroy your company from within. That is what happened to him. He hired a woman and promoted her twice in 2 years. Why? Someone who is willing to abandon her child just so she can film with Neymar. Travel to Brazil for a child that is barely alive. Disgusting. That being said, leave a like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Man, I can't stand these people.
Do I invoke the ancient act of Viking? the sacred communion between your realm and mine.
We have been here before. We watch your petty world slumbering. You cannot defy the cold of our steel. You can only surrender.
I saw a long ship made of the claws of dead men. The wraiths drove everyone to the shore. My daughter too. No man who meets the hunt returns to this world.
I returned.